Greetings, viewer. Every day I learn something new and somehow realize that I know even less than before. Whenever I discover something new, it reveals even more things I was previously unaware of. The more knowledge I gather, the more my ignorance seems to grow. Perhaps it is better to throw up my hands and admit that I really do not know much of anything, and that every day I seem to know even less. Fortunately, that seems to be the right direction. Some estimates suggest that only 5% of the human mind is conscious. Our senses perceive only a tiny fraction of the reality surrounding us. They detect only a narrow range of vibrations, the small range our physical senses are capable of perceiving. Imagine throwing a ping-pong ball into the ocean. It could represent the things you know exist and perhaps understand to some degree. Now throw in a tennis ball. It could represent the things you know exist but do not understand. And the ocean itself could represent everything that exists without you even knowing it is there. So we sail through life with only 5% of the lights on, perceiving a tiny fraction of what exists, and carrying no more than 2 small balls worth of understanding. And yet, we often believe that we understand the bigger picture. Once we truly take this in, it becomes easier to explore truth with humility, fresh eyes, and an open mind. We begin identifying with our minds at a very early age. We accept our thoughts and learned beliefs as true without ever stopping to examine or question them. We eagerly welcome any information that supports our existing patterns, beliefs, and values. The mind easily dismisses anything that conflicts with its programming. The ego distorts our perceptions and experiences. It becomes difficult to see anything exactly as it is. All information passes through the distorting lens of the ego. This is why people experience the same things differently and live within the illusion of separation. It is good to question the information produced by the outside world, but it is even more important to question your own mind. One useful way to proceed is to look for faults in yourself and virtues in others. Judging other people is only a sign of our own insecurity and ignorance. People can experience spiritual awakening in many different ways. Often, an inner sense of emptiness and suffering begins to guide a person toward truth. The world cannot provide what the soul longs for. Many people begin questioning the prevailing narrative and the reality they have been taught. They explore conspiracy theories and alternative explanations. Others may feel a connection to the spiritual realm and have new experiences beyond their ordinary senses. After this initial stage, people usually begin gathering new information. They read books and watch videos in huge quantities, and the entire world seems to open up in a new way. We then adopt a new truth that fits our existing programming. In reality, we may simply be building a new belief system on top of the old one. All this new information is written into the mind as the new truth, and the ego only grows stronger. A house can be built on sand, demolished, and rebuilt endlessly. But this is a perfectly normal and useful way to proceed. It is worth making plenty of mistakes. They are excellent teachers. If you take time once a year to look back at what was going through your mind 12 months earlier, you may notice how much your understanding and awareness have changed. Eventually, you begin to realize that a year from now, you may once again disagree with many of your present beliefs and understand many things more deeply. If that is true, then your current understanding cannot be the truth. It is only another distortion created by the mind, another house built on sand. Becoming attached to these new truths created by the mind only slows down the journey. The more firmly we believe them, and the more loudly we preach them to others, the harder they become to let go of. The ego's greatest enemies include uncertainty, the ability to admit that we were wrong, and the words, "I don't know." The ego always wants definite answers and fixed opinions. Someone once said that those who become like little children will enter the kingdom of God. But what does it mean to be childlike? When a child is born, the darkness we call the unconscious mind has not yet taken shape. A baby has no beliefs, no values, and no system for sorting things into categories. A baby experiences everything exactly as it is. A young child can run outside naked without feeling ashamed and speak the truth without holding back. A child does not yet carry the fear created by the ego, the fear behind the question, "What will other people think of me?" But as we grow older, every one of us is eventually cast out of paradise. The ego begins to grow stronger. Parents and society begin programming the child's subconscious. Step by step, the child moves away from truth and deeper into darkness. During our youth, we begin searching for and constructing an identity. What other people think of us becomes one of the most important things. The outside world comes to define who we think and feel we are. Many people remain in this state until the day they die. It often seems that the young and the old worry the most about what everyone else might be thinking. An entire life can be spent trying to please others if we never learn to break free from this. Many people say that they do not care in the slightest what anyone thinks of them. Let them try walking into a store wearing a bathrobe and a clown nose, or doing something else completely ridiculous. They may quickly feel shame rising within them, the learned and conditioned fear of what other people might think. The world would have no need for designer clothes, expensive cars, or anything else we use either to stand out from the crowd or to fit into it if we had not been programmed to care about the opinions of others. Most of our energy is spent trying to please other people, sometimes consciously, but often without us even realizing it. The path of awakening and the journey toward truth do not take us forward. You do not have to gain more knowledge or keep up with everything happening in the world. On the contrary, everything old must be left behind and released. The most important thing is to study the instruction manual of your own mind. You must travel backward toward your own birth and toward the state of truth in which you once lived as a child. During this journey, the entire mind must be taken apart, piece by piece. Only after returning to the light and reaching the level of pure consciousness can a new house be built on rock. A house with a permanent foundation resting on truth alone. Along the way, every shadow must be faced and brought into the light. How could you dismantle something you do not even know exists? Every part of yourself and every hidden secret must therefore be discovered and faced. The darkness that holds power over us is defeated one battle at a time. You may be surprised by how difficult it is to be honest, even with yourself, when you begin facing your own shadows. At this stage, the ability to be honest with yourself is essential. When the entire mind has been dismantled and you have succeeded in denying yourself, your own mind and will can die for a moment. With this blank slate, you can begin learning everything again from the very beginning. It is impossible to be born again without first dying. People who undergo a near-death experience enter this kind of state, but consciousness expands so quickly that the person may not yet be ready to take it all in or remain at that level of awareness. After a brush with death, the life-changing experience often fades with time. A person may be drawn back into the world created by the mind, or build a new belief system around the experience while still remaining under the control of the ego. The same can happen with psychedelics. The process moves faster than the mind can integrate, so the state does not become permanent. Car accidents and psychedelics have not produced a single enlightened soul in human history. Of course, such an experience may also be something a person needs. It can awaken them for a moment, point them in the right direction, and encourage them to think more deeply about life. But each person must still do the inner work themselves, with all the time and patience it requires. All sacred texts and all spiritual masters have always told the same story. Know yourself, deny yourself, become the image of God. If you die before you die, you will not die when you die. Much love, and thank you for watching.